Chairman Mike Long regarding this meeting. Quote, the Comprehensive Plan Committee prepared the document and public comments will be heard up to 3 minutes. Based on comments, there may be some slight revisions, unquote. Does this sound like there will be any room for meaningful participation by Lansing residents? To continue, quote, ultimately the town board will hold another public hearing before they adopt the final document, unquote. If this sounds cut and dried, it is. At a poorly advertised town board meeting last September, the Town of Lansing Agriculture and Farmland Protection Plan received comments, barred questions, and was adopted, all in a breathtaking 15 minutes. In response to charges that the Lansing Ag Plan gives an overall feeling that nobody else lives or deserves to live in North Lansing but farmers, Cornell Cooperative Extension Agricultural Issue Leader and lead writer of the plan replied, quote, you are right. A comparison of the maps in the comp plan download demonstrate this. In the property use classification map of 2015, you will see there are many large yellow residential areas throughout the rural portion of the map, some marking settlements going back to the early 1800s. Compare this to the proposed future land uses comp plan map of 2016, where a sea of green washes over rural Lansing and delineates comp plan policy to wipe out residential representation in favor of agricultural interests. Based on an ag plan that deliberately excluded 95% of the rural population from any participation in its formulation or future voice for themselves and their families. All the Cornell-affiliated contributors to this comp plan marched to the same discriminatory beat, as shown by their statement that form-based code was implemented in St. Lucie County, Florida, quote, despite obstacles as a result of public participation, unquote. When planners describe public participation as an obstacle to planning goals, it should certainly send up some red flags. And while the other participants have quietly distanced themselves from the Lansing Ag Plan, claiming they have no responsibility and that Lansing's town government is solely responsible, Lansing town government has yet to publicly respond or account for its role in denying thousands of residents from having any participation at all, while giving full authority to a handful of rich agricultural interests and lobbyists. They have responded with silence so far, but this is a silence that cannot be allowed to continue. As South African social rights activist Desmond Tutu expresses it,
20 seconds, Doug.
if you are neutral in situations of injustice, thank you, you have chosen the side of the oppressor. It's more than just Lansing's comp plan that will be decided. It's a watershed for Lansing's residents and their ability to choose what sort of life they and their children will be allowed to have. Thank you.
Thank you. Next one is Joel Harkin.
Harlan.
Harlan, I'm sorry. Would you please come forward and give us your address?
My name's Joel Harlan. I'm from Newfield.
Okay.
I'm an activist for growth, change. So I came to you, I was about ready to come up to you anyways and speak about making a smart way of what you're doing. Development of all mixed bags of things. The town and city is almost filled to capacity of growth. There ain't got much more room. So we have to come up, and this is a good idea, and I mentioned to the county representative to expand growth all the way from here to Cortland. I'm going up to Cortland, the county representative. I already mentioned this to the county representative. Get all townships to start doing what you're doing, and Tonnesca, making development, changes, affordable housing. I made a proposal, and it's a 30-year plan, to the county representative, Tonnesca City. There's no way you can work around these hills and that lake. You got plenty of room, plant land, all the way up through to Cortland. And with a mixed bag, you can work around the farmers. And I mentioned what you need to do is learn to make growth, and it's a lot of money making for the community, is do like Big Flats and Horseheads has done. I remember when I lived down there was nothing down there. Now look at it. It's grown weeds of development. It happens on the interstate, and that's what it is on the interstate, but also Cortland's on the interstate. So if we can combine, I mentioned this way back to common council up there at Cortland, the day of the Cadillac shooting. We got 4 colleges in this community. Why not use spin-offs and bring technology into our community, like in Silicon Valley? That's what you need to do, and this is in the future. Also, Big Flats has a Corning glass plant about a mile from Community Square. It's been there before the development started. So I'm letting you know, I'm all out for what your project is, but in the future it's got to grow more. This is a booming area now. This county wants to grow. But you're going to have to open up the land for other uses besides the farmers. And you got waterfront. I'm in big time down there, down Escott, down to Lansing, and city of Escott. I've been involved with down in Lansing about the Pyramid Mall area, the mall area down.
Thank you very much.
So you need to grow. You got to do it smartly.
Thank you. James Sullivan.
I'm gonna put some copies and some things up there.
Okay. You want to just lay it right there on top of that Mr. Beard put there, that'd be
I
fine.
don't know if you go around.
Okay. Do you want to state your address for us, please?
James Sullivan, 1868 East Shore Drive in Lansing. I've been a resident here for 14 years. Married a woman here who's been here a lot longer. Anyhow, some general comments on the master plan. One of the big things that I see about the master plan is that something that's not taken into account is the economic impact of trying to implement this plan on the current residents. Because a lot of what's in there implies the development of infrastructure, probably subsidized by taxpayers. Right now, our property taxes are just atrocious. And anything that doesn't take into account that we've got an extraordinarily high property taxes is not a development plan that's going to succeed. Because I look at anything that's going to kick my taxes up, and I'm going to fight it tooth and nail. We should not be subsidizing developers. We should not be subsidizing their profits. I look at it, it says it's not a comprehensive development plan, it's a development plan, period. Comprehensive? No. We need a property, or we need some kind of plan that addresses something about reducing property taxes and not hypothetical, oh, we'll have, more high-priced properties and that'll generate property taxes that will subsidize and reduce individuals' property taxes. I don't think that's ever happened. Once again, we have the specter of sewer development. I've visited that twice, and I've presented documents to the board about a number of issues concerning sewer development that have never been addressed. And the document that I have here outlines the last 2 times I've been here to deal with that. One of the other things I noticed, it's kind of interesting, on page 11, where they outline the demographics of the population in Lansing, one thing that was curiously missing, and that's the demographics dealing with people between the ages of 65 and 84. Nothing. Age groups before it, age groups 85 and above, they talk about. But the age group 65 to 84, completely missing. I wonder why. Now, the previous comment about the sewer project, what is attached to my document here is I outlined a number of concerns that I pinned down about a number of different sewer projects around here.
Okay, thank you.
And I will make one summary comment. Those issues that are outlined in this document have never been addressed. They need to be.
Thank you. Mary Sullivan?
Good evening. My name is Mary Sullivan. I'm the wife of James Sullivan. I live at 1868 East Shore Drive. I've been a Lansing resident for 50 years and active in my community for most of that time, longer than you know me. First of all, I'd like to state that I'm not opposed to development, but I'm tired of it coming up and things presented as a comprehensive plan when the comprehension doesn't include me or my demographic. The older, long-term voting residents of this town who have made this town what it is up to this day. I've seen a lot of changes, mostly for the good, like the library, improved fire stations. I was a member of the fire company at one point. Grocery store, the gas station. None of these were really funded by, so much, well, the fire station, but taxes. I raised 3 children and several teenagers in this town. Frankly, though, I sometimes feel like I'm in the movie Groundhog Day. It's the same issues that have been thoroughly trounced by the majority of long-term residents, like my husband, and documented, tend to resurface, usually in August, when folks are out of town in the last fling of the summer, at about 2 to 5 year intervals. The word comprehensive to me means all-encompassing. Yet this plan, for all its 90-plus pages, hardly encompasses the people and problems of the town. When in fact, the demographics of my age group, 65 to 84, are left out. No one I know in this age group was sent this supposed survey. So it has been mentioned. This isn't a comprehensive development plan. This is actually a comprehensive builder's plan. In an attempt to convince us to support this plan, we're given the benefits of improved infrastructure, including new roads, and they snuck in the town sewer system. What we are not given is the increases in taxes and long-term changes that will happen to our senior citizens as we become unable to afford to live in our own homes. Funds that should be the cost of starting a business or housing development will have to be paid by those of us who will be displaced when we can no longer afford to live here. Bottom line, no one set up a GoFundMe page when my home was built to give me a sewer system. Yet this, in essence, is what previous developers have asked our planning board to set up for their benefit and our detriment. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Dean Shay?
Hi there, Dean Shea, 416 Asbury Road, another 50-year resident of Lansing. Just wanted to thank the committee members for giving back to the community with their time and talent and dedication. The purpose of this comprehensive plan is to be the backbone or key or official guide to decisions moving forward for laws like zoning. There are certainly risks to the liberties of the property owners in this town. whenever you make changes to zoning laws and laws that restrict what you can do with your property. One of the things that really needs to be addressed in the plan is how we communicate between government and citizens in the town. The process, so far as possible, is supposed to be done with the knowledge of landowners and with the cooperation of landowners. And that's not just with a few, but that's with all of them. The minimum standards for things like advertising and notices are very minimal. So if you don't read the Journal and Lansing Star Online, if you drive past the front of the building here on a normal basis, you might not really know about what is going on in the town. There's no way to sign up for the town newsletter, no way to get emails directly to your email every day. It's very, very important that the residents really be included as much as possible in the process. There are a lot of details in the plan that I think are missing, but I will say that over the 2006 plan, it seems like there's a lot more meat there, and we commend the committee for their hard work to really flesh things out a lot, and be a lot more specific. I think that it gives the residents a lot more to chew on and to react to. So I just hope that as we move forward in the next 6 months or year with this process, that we can do a better job of informing the community so that the community really can take ownership of this document. Thank you.
Thank you.
Diane Dawson.
Good evening, I'm Diane Dawson, 10 Asbury Drive homeowner, and been a resident of the town since 1991. I have to echo agreement with many of the previous speakers, but first of all, I want to thank Connie and her committee for the work. It's a great start. A lot of good gathering of information, but I don't feel we're where we need to be yet, so I'm glad there are some additional steps before it goes before the town board. A little background, a little history I thought might be helpful. I was trustee and deputy mayor of the village of Lansing back in the 80s. I was not part of government when the village was formed, but for those who don't know why the village was formed, it was formed in the 70s because Route 13 cut through a portion of our town. Not long after that, what was then called Pyramid Mall, which is now the Shops at Ithaca Mall, was put in that location. Homeowners were frankly terrified, came to the town requesting zoning so that they could help control this growth and density that the highway had opened up. The town at that time was not particularly interested in zoning. But I can tell you, I can assure you, it's one of the most important things in this comprehensive plan that drives your zoning. It is one of the most important things we will ever do for our own generation and for the future generations to come. I'd like to speak specifically to a few things. I was interested to hear about form-based codes. However, I don't agree. I don't think that they mean mixed-use development everywhere, which in my mind is called scatter development. In the village of Lansing, you'll see that the higher density is around the higher transportation areas, the higher service areas. You want to put your higher density where the services are provided, because that reduces your cost and the services are available to the majority of the people. So you look at the malls, you look at the shopping centers, you look at the apartment complexes, they're clustered pretty close to Route 13. The objective of the village was just that, to control growth. Again, the village was not anti-growth, but they wanted controlled growth. Two primary concerns with our plan now is, and I spoke about this at a public hearing meeting about the Cuba Farms development, is the sewer package plants. I don't feel that the comprehensive plan reviews those in enough detail. I asked the planning board at that time, are there any package plants in the county? Do we have any state DEC recommendations? Are there any studies about package plants? And I echo, as my time up already, I'm sorry, may I just finish 2 points? I echo the concerns expressed earlier that the town should not be entering into public-private developer agreements for package plants. That puts the town at extreme legal risk if that developer fails, and they will fail, to somehow carry on those package plants. Let's pursue municipal sewer and stay away from package plants. The transportation, while I respect our Cornell students, I don't think was comprehensive enough, and I don't know if there was state DOT data or involvement. The village had hired a state DOT fellow out of Syracuse, I think, that helped us with some of the transportation issues, because a lot of what was referred to that I saw was about if it was full build out of 100 new residents in the town. Well, there are a lot of people that drive through the town of Lansing that are not residents of the town, and that all needs to be taken into account in the study. It may be there and I missed it. So again, I just want to summarize, thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight, and the plan is not ready for town approval without further research. Thank you.
Thank you, Diana. Dean Conowalo.
I'll pass. I'll submit something in writing.
Okay. Does anybody else want to speak? No one has any comments? You've already spoken, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm Ted Lux, I live at 1853 East Shore Drive. And I guess I was a little concerned, I didn't understand how this plan would help with fracking, in the sense that there's been a strong support in the town for a ban, and I didn't see in there how heavy industry or fracking would be addressed. The other thing, it's difficult to understand the plan if you're not familiar with how they're written and what you're looking for. So I think it would have been beneficial to have like a question and answer session before this meeting. And since you haven't, if there could be one, either by the comp plan committee or by the town board before the town board actually acts on it, or has a hearing, I think that would be helpful also. As I said, it's difficult to understand exactly how these things, when they get put into effect, how it will affect us. And if there's any way for the plan, or not necessarily in the plan, but for an explanation of how things would affect different areas of the town. In other words, if you live here, you might anticipate these kinds of changes. That would be helpful, because otherwise you don't really know what to expect. I guess that's all.
Okay, thanks, Jeff. No, I don't have to make any comments, but I would like to comment what I have said to the committee every single meeting that we have. This comprehensive plan is a guideline for the town. It is not an ordinance. It is not a law. It's not something that's set in stone. It's always going to be a work in progress. So, but the town does need some guidelines to go by, and we especially need to get some things in place, like I say, so we can get some funding, so it's not going to cost the taxpayers a lot of money. I mean, it's initially, yes, the taxpayers, if it's federal or state money, it's taxpayer money, but if we can get some of the funding that some of these other towns have gotten, that would be great. The other thing that's unique about Lansing is Lansing is not like a Dryden, Broughton, or Trumansburg. It doesn't have a main street. It has hamlets. It's always had hamlets. There's Myers, Ludlow, South Lansing, North Lansing, East Lansing, Lake Ridge. So it's very difficult to bring together a cohesive town center when there's never been one, and we don't have sidewalks out in front of the town hall walking from one place to another. I know that I didn't have to comment on anything, but I just want everybody to understand that this is by no means an ordinance or a zoning law. So, like I said, we still have time if anybody wants to speak about anything at all to do with the comprehensive plan. Yes, sir.
Is someone going to make a presentation of the plan and sort of describe to us sort of what your vision is for it?
Well, we will get the executive summary done. It has not been done yet. We'll get the executive summary done. The planning board needs to go through the whole plan to give their, and we've already gotten quite a few written comments from the planning board, and I believe they're going to have a special meeting to go over the total plan, say what, because they are basically going to be the ones that are going to be most affected by this, because when they go to do the land use and development upgrades to the laws, they need a guide to go by. So that's where it's at. And the town board will have a hearing on the plan, and we will, once the plan is all revised and set in place, it will be on the town website. We will then again also have hard copies for you to be able to look at. So I feel badly that people think we haven't communicated enough with them, but honestly we have. I mean, I don't know how more to communicate. You know, the meetings, our committee meetings were all public meetings. They're all public meetings. So, and they were on the website. So you know, yes, Trish.
Could possibly have postcards and addresses that say exactly what you just said. Please go to the website if you need to see a hard copy come to, because I think that's part of the problem, that people don't go and find this until you tell them specifically where it is. And those postcards where the town newspaper said specifically, if you want a mail copy, let us know. They were really good about it. That was the first time I heard of it, and I liked it. I liked seeing that.
Okay.
Are public hearings posted in the Ithaca Journal?
Yes.
By law, I think you have to do that.
Yes, the Ithaca Journal is our publication because it is an actual newspaper. And we also put stuff in the Lansing Star too, so, but it is published.
Don't depend on the ledger. They get big trouble.
You gotta prepare yourself. A lot of people are gonna go against it, just like everywhere else in this county.
Yeah.
They don't wanna see growth change.
Well, it's not necessarily all about growth. It's all about what's good for Lansing and how to protect our residents. So,
Play a smart deal, like going with your heart.
okay.
One thing the town could do, let people sign up for an email list. So
Well, I
right
think
now,
you're
if you're dependent
yeah.
on somebody to go in
Well,
and
I think
advocate
that they
with,
sent out an email list for the town publication. I believe that Sue has, there is a huge email list, and if you want to call the supervisor's office and get your name on that list, that's fine. Because there is a list for this.
oh yeah, but you know, I've navigated the town's website a couple times and trying to find out like how do you sign up for an email.
The best thing to do is call the supervisor's office.
Okay, but
Call
you
the
know,
supervisor's
that's-
office and give them your email address.
Yeah, that should be a very simple link off the site that says, sign up, give me your email address, and you're done.
Well, we're trying to save taxpayers money, so that's why we haven't got a huge IT department.
Email the list.
No, I'm just saying that we don't have the ability to do a lot of the IT stuff that you're talking about because we don't have a huge IT department. So that's- Does anybody else have anything to say that hasn't spoken already? Otherwise, we're going to close the meeting. Yes?
Connie, what would you be using the funds for from the grants? What would the purpose of that money be if
Well,
you applied for them and got the money?
Mike can answer that, but it's not like we're just going out and obtaining funds for just anything. But there's a lot of funds for tourism grants. We want to get going with some agritourism. I know that some people here are against agriculture, but there's a lot of things that, and you know, for the pathways, things like that, Main Street projects, you know, funds for that kind of stuff. And Mike can expand on that.
Yeah, there's a lot of opportunity out there, and as was mentioned earlier, if Lansing doesn't position itself to take advantage of some of the state and federal money that's out there, it's going to go somewhere else. So some of the things that we've identified as potential projects would be to do a transportation study on the corridors between 34 and 34B. This is where the proper development density could be in the town. Again, the Ithaca Tompkins County Transportation Council did a lot of the preliminary engineering and traffic counts for us and showed that we're well underneath the capacities. We're like half of what the real capacity of the road systems are, being state and federal highways. What we hope to do is to do a study on putting in possibly sidewalks, transportation corridors, what they call smart streets, so that you then work within the transportation corridors. And again, 34, 34B, the intersections need to be studied. As you know, the town has a large tract of land right across the street that's ripe for development. Trying to make that fit within this particular area. Another thing that we've thought of is to do a comprehensive plan for Myers Park. What do we really want to see it happen? It'd be a great place for a new pavilion to be down on the waterfront. You know, certain infrastructure things that the town needs to worry about as well. So part of the recommendation is also that the town board, I think, is going to entertain is to develop a 5-year capital plan. So it kind of looks at where do you want to grow? Where do you want to be in the next 5 or 10 years? And try to address issues. What we've always found that if you identify it as a potential project and you show that there's community support for things like Myers Park, the new pavilion down there, all of a sudden now we can get 50% state grant funds. Possibly there may be a donor who may want to contribute money towards a particular project or a community fundraising group. I know several of them are in the town. You know, all of a sudden it becomes a lot of little pieces come together and you have something phenomenal. So again, it's going to take some visioning. Part of the comprehensive plan was really trying to take a look at the form-based codes. You know, where is appropriate for development? We've had some interest in developers in terms of doing higher density development as you go towards the Village Solar, Village Circle development that's going on in the southern part of the town. I think that that's an area ripe for development. Over time, I think that you'll see that, you know, in 5 or 10 or 20 years, you're going to see how things really interact. But transportation is a big thing. Parks and recreation is a big thing. As Connie said, the tourism is a big thing, that the county gives out money from the bed tax. We'd like to see it come back here. The planning boards actually talk about the need for visitor center type activities, you know, meeting space for wineries and weddings and things of that nature. Again, we've got a couple of those things that are going on now, but there's much more opportunity for things to happen. So I think, you know, the idea is to try to identify the potentials and then hopefully put together the game plan for them. That helps answer some of your questions.
Yep, thank you.
Well, I want to thank you all for coming tonight. And thank you for your input. And please feel free to send us written input up until August 31st.
Yeah, and as everybody should be aware, there's a copy here, as Connie indicated, at the library. It's all available online. You can download all of it. Hopefully you'll have a good time looking through all the information.
And as we do updates, we'll make sure that it's posted on the website.
Is the July 11th, 2016 draft the most current?
Yes.
Yes.